Hello, everybody. Welcome to this edition of Turnaround Marriage Live. This is Rachel, and Scott and I, my husband and I, we help committed Christian couples finally end the cycles of conflict, negativity, and disconnection and reclaim the love, passion, and playfulness that they once had. So today I had a quick minute. Something came on my heart last night as I was going to bed, and I thought, um, denial. It's such an escape route, right? How many people are living in denial in their marriage? And for many people, you understand this in the context of maybe your health and your weight, maybe your financial situation or whatever. It's like it's easy to be in denial. Well, it's not that bad, or I don't really want to know. I'm not going to really look. And we have what's called like ostrich syndrome, right? Where you put your head in the sand and you close your eyes and you don't really want to look at the nitty gritty because you don't really want to know what's going on. And the same thing can happen in a marriage. You can put your head in the sand and go in what's called an ostrich syndrome, where you really don't want to know what you don't know. And maybe you've been ignoring the warning signs for some time. And just like if it's your health and your health is a ticking time bomb, or your finances are in disarray, and the more that you don't look at it, the more you don't pay attention to it, the more you don't want to think about it, the worse and worse it gets, right? And so, if this is you, and if maybe you are somebody who's been ignoring the warning signs, this message is for you. And here's what we found. We have found that many, many couples, when there's pain or dysfunction or heartache or mistrust or even a breach of the covenant vows in marriage, that often things get swept under the rug for some length of time, right? Maybe you've been sweeping things under the rug for a long time because you hate conflict and you want to avoid it at all costs. And so maybe you're out there and you've been hoping and praying that things are just going to magically get better if you just close your eyes and pretend like it's not as bad as it is. But secretly, maybe you're worried that even though that you have hints that your marriage is spiraling toward a split up, a separation, or divorce, you've been ignoring the problem and therefore ignoring the solution. Maybe you're out there and you're scared of what's going to happen, but you feel paralyzed to do something about it. You don't even know what to do because your eyes have been closed so long and you don't really want to think about it or worry about it. And maybe you've been numbing yourself and just vegging out in front of the television when you get home, or scrolling on your phone, or spending endless hours doing something to numb the pain, and you just don't even want to face it. You don't want to look at it. So let's think about and talk about some of those warning signs that might be there, that might show that you are in denial about the state of your marriage. Maybe your spouse has started becoming withdrawn or unresponsive to you. Maybe they started pulling away and the body language feels cold. It feels like there's something there and you're not quite sure. Is it you? Is it someone else? Is it something at work? Is it something with the kids? Is it something in their own life? And you're afraid to bring it up because you don't know what your spouse is going to say, or you know it will open a can of worms and maybe there'll be a fight that you want to avoid. Another warning sign might be a lack of communication and openness. It's like maybe the communication is just really shut down. The text messages are very short and curt and to the point, one word answers. And maybe when your spouse gets home, or the two of you are home from work or whatever after a long day, there's just not a lot to talk about, right? Maybe that openness and that feeling that you can share your feelings and your heart and your worries and your successes or failures of the day with your spouse, maybe that feeling has gone away, or you feel like they really don't want to know how I'm actually doing. Maybe you've noticed in your intimate life that sex has become less and less frequent or more obligatory, and you just find that there's more and more reasons why not to do it instead of enjoying that gift that God's given married couples. Denial is where things start. And then what happens is, if you stay in denial for too long, then you start to feel grief over what you're losing. And then the grief can then turn to blame often, where you start blaming your spouse, where they've become so cold, they've shut down, they've given up on the marriage, they aren't showing up the way they want. And then that blame can turn to anger, anger over how it is, anger over how it should be, anger over how your spouse is showing up, treating you, speaking to you or not speaking to you. And then that anger can easily turn into resentment. And that can grow into the root of bitterness that Ephesians talks about. And that root can grow deeper and deeper and deeper until you start resenting your spouse. You start resenting marriage. It starts to feel like a prison. And maybe you're starting to drink a little bit more, or you have to take a drink every night just to take the edge off. Or maybe you're doing some other kind of coping strategy where you're like I said, you're scrolling, you're numbing yourself, you're vegging out, you just want to shut your mind down. Maybe it's pills or whatever it is. Guess what, guys? I'm here to tell you that things are not going to magically get better if you just keep your eyes closed. If you stay in denial in your marriage, things are not going to get better on their own. The truth is, you cannot get out of the pain that you're in unless you take your head out of the sand and look at what's really going on. Think about it from your health standpoint. You've had, headaches for days and weeks and months and years. You've been ignoring it. They've been getting worse. You're starting to lose sleep over it. And you finally go to the doctor. It's like, oh, I know something's wrong, but I'm scared. You finally go to the doctor and the doctor says, you've had high blood pressure for a very long time. You're on the edge of getting a stroke. And it's that wake-up call that you need. You didn't want to hear that, but that's the first step that you can take to say, gosh, I can do something about my weight, about what salt I'm eating, what food I'm eating, right? About moving my body. I can do something about that now because I've taken my head out of the sand and I've started to look at the situation. Same thing is true in your finances. If your bills have been racking up and you're still spending and you're not looking at it and you're not really looking at what's going in and what's going out and you have no plan for your money, the same thing can happen. It's not until you face the reality of what's going in and what's coming out and what's your plan for your financial future that you can actually take the first step. And we're here to tell you the same is true in your marriage. That first step is saying, how bad is it really? How bad is it really? And guys, this takes bravery and courage. And it takes a strong kind of person who says, I'm ready to face what needs to be faced. I'm ready to own up to what my part is in this marriage, of how it's failed, how our communication is broken down. Why do we have all this conflict, or why do we not have communication at all? Why have we been sweeping things under the rug? Why are we not free to share our hearts with each other anymore? Why has our sex life gone into the abysmal abyss of nothingness, right? So it takes that brave person to say, it's time to take my head out of the sand. It's time to open my eyes. It's time to ask hard questions and say, what is it that has gone wrong in the marriage? And that's the very first step to healing, right? That's what I'm here to give you, is the hope of, if you can recognize denial for what it is, and if you can decide today, I'm going to face it. And because we've probably been telling ourselves stories for a while, right? We've probably been telling ourselves, well, it's not that bad. Well, it's not as bad as so-and-so's marriage across the street, or it's not as bad as, my mom and dad's marriage was, when there was just constant fighting. And we've made sure we don't do that in front of the kids, but secretly you've been sweeping things under the rug or texting somebody else or whatever it is. Guys, I'm here to tell you the path forward out of the pain is to stop the denial, take your head out of the sand, and let's talk about what's not working in your marriage. And the good news is that is what Scott and I do on a free breakthrough call that we offer you, where we dive deep into what's not working in your marriage. What hasn't been working with your communication, with conflict resolution, with intimacy, with your connection? What hasn't been working? How is this starting to affect your kids and your health and your work and your life? What's really going on, where we can stop denying and we can start facing the music? That is the first step forward. But then what we do on the breakthrough call, we don't leave you in your pain. We talk about what you dream and hope that your marriage could be. And this is the fun part. This is where you get to start to turn your eyes forward to what is it that you want, not looking back at all of the pain that we need to rehash, and we need to, unpack and unwind all this yuck that's happened between us. But what can we do to move forward? And that's the beauty of Christian marriage coaching, is we are forward facing. We want to help you get from where you are to the dream of what your marriage can be. And that's what we help do on that breakthrough call. And then we can help you create a strategy to get there. And if we're a good fit to work together, and for us to show you what our path would be, we will lay that out with love and graciousness. Okay. But if we're not the best solution, and if we can't really help you, we're going to steer you to what is best going to serve you and your spouse. But either way, you're going to know exactly what you need to do next to get back the marriage that you've been praying for. Because guys, denial is killing your marriage. If we don't face the music, if we don't open our eyes and take our head out of the sand, things could fall apart and actually spiral all the way to a place where there is no coming back before it's too late. So the best thing to do is to stop the denial, start facing the music, and let's get on that free breakthrough call and find out what's not working, where you dream your marriage can be, and help you create that strategy to get there. So if you're watching on Facebook, we want to say hello. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and like and subscribe so that you don't miss any of our content. And we're here to give you hope and help for your Christian marriage. We have been in that hopeless, dark place before. There's no judgment from us. We're here to love you and serve you to the truth. So don't let denial hold you back from getting the marriage that you're hoping for and praying for. Have a good day.